Hello future winners! Today is Saturday, and on every Saturday we post a free lesson for you to improve. Today we are looking at a legendary match played by Botvinnik against Tal in 1960. In Game 6, where Tal was leading for one whole point, we came to this position. And we asked you on Instagram, what do you think? Is it better to play rook ac8 or rook fc8? Let's look. Here is Queen's Indian. And what is a normal plan in Queen's Indian? Of course, to play f5. But then, why are we not playing knight h5 and then f5? Why would we anyway play rook c8? Here's the thing. After knight h5, white can play bishop e3, and after, for example, taking here, white will have this b line and much compensation on the side where he should play. In Queen's Indian, you should play on queen side and black should play on king side. That's logical. But here, what's the deal? Black wanted to play on queen side to block it. He doesn't actually want to play there because, of course, he wants to play f5. That's the whole point of this pawn structure. But he wanted to make white think that he's going to play on queen side and that he is going to play a5, which will never happen. So here's preparing, putting much pressure on c line and then playing f5 when white is not expecting it. So that was his plan, to mask his idea. So he played rook fc8. White played rook b1 to protect this square on b2 and then to move his bishop. But it was more logical to play queen e2, because then this square here is attacked if black plays knight h5 and then after f5. But of course, white thought that black is going to play on queen side, and that's the whole point. So he made a worse move and played rook b1. So sometimes you need to mask your ideas, but of course in a way that you are not making your position worse or something like that. Knight h5, of course, but he will wait with f5, you'll see. Bishop e3, queen b4, of course not queen d8 right now. Queen e2, rook c4. So first, putting this rook to c8, making pressure, blockading queen side, and then f5. Rook fc1, his idea is to play bishop f1 and to attack this rook on c4. But black doesn't care about it because he plays rook ac8. And if he plays bishop f3 or bishop f1, black will simply play f5, which was his idea. But he played king h2 and black played f5 anyway. And here we go. It was a final time to attack on king's side. Tal was a tactical player and he loved to play Queen's Indian because there are so many chances and ideas which you can make. White took on f5, bishop f5, rook a1. He didn't play something like a3 because he thought that after rook a1, black needs to move some of his pieces. But that is not going to happen because black is going to play knight f4 and sacrifice knight. So this was a first shock, something that white didn't expect it to happen. But what he can do? He can take with bishop, but then we are making this diagonal very powerful. So that's simply not an option. To move away queen, then we can take on g2. So it was not hard to take here, and it didn't happen so slowly. But after pawn takes, here's the problem. White can't take on a7 because of queen a5, and black is getting back this bishop because white can't play bishop anywhere. He actually doesn't have a square. The best move was to play a3 actively. Queen b3 to take now bishop e5, of course threatening to play f3, so white plays f3, b6, and to try to get compensation like that, to get this bishop on a7. It was better for white, but Tal said that it would be very hard to play. Anyway, white didn't play a3, and he played one passive move, bishop d2. Tal took on b2, and he was thinking if bishop e5 was a better move, but he decided to take on b2. And actually he took 50 minutes because he didn't expect white to play bishop d2, and he said that all of this was intuitive and that he just didn't calculate it all. So he took on b2. White played rook b1, and second shock for white, because black didn't move his queen. Black played f3, dynamical move that confused white completely. So what should white do right now? The best move was to take on f3, and after this one to make a draw. It may be other better moves, but this was the first that he should have seen and played. But no, white made a mistake. And in practical game, it's very hard to play for white. When you confuse your opponent and he didn't expect something to happen, he is in that stress state, and he is more likely to blunder something. So here he took queen on b2, and after pawn takes e2, he was completely lost. Rook b3, rook d4, and this is a very good move. Bishop e1, bishop e5. Slowly you can see how black pieces are becoming better and better. King g1, bishop f4. He could also take on c3, but he didn't want to blunder something, so it was safer to play bishop f4. Knight takes e2. Of course, if he plays rook a1, then simply taking, and it's losing for white, so more chances was giving knight e2. Rook c1, knight d4, of course on knight c1, rook d1, rook e1, bishop f1, and bishop e4. Let's see, all of black's pieces are standing perfectly, so no chance for white. He played knight d2, bishop e5, f4, bishop f6, and he took pawn. After, for example, king f2, then bishop h4. So he took, bishop takes d5, rook c7, of course. Let me just say that after rook a7, we take here, and bishop d4. So of course, he must wait. Bishop a2, rook a7 now, because there's a check on a8 if we take on e2. Bishop c4, rook a8, king f7, rook a7, and soon this pawn on d6 will decide the game, because it will be a very strong passed pawn. Rook a3, d5, king f2, bishop h4, king g2, king d6, knight g3. It was a final time to take this knight, and this pawn is deciding the game. King takes g3, king d5, rook a7, c3. There are few more moves because this pawn is promoting. So rook c7, king d4, rook d7. And white resigned the game. Actually, before this move, game was stopped and they had a whole night to analyze it. Of course, white and his coaches knew that the position is totally lost, so he came to a game, played rook d7 and resigned. So let me tell you again what happened. First, masking the real plan, but not in a bad way. He made some pressure, he really blocked that wing. Second one are shocks. When you put your opponent in uncomfortable position, then he is more likely to blunder something. So those two sacrifices were not only sacrifices, they were making a stressful state for his opponent. And that's why he blundered, and his opponent was Botvinnik, so it was not easy to make your opponent blunder if your opponent is a world champion. And he was leading 2 points. We hope that you can use those lessons to really improve and get your title. Subscribe and see you tomorrow with chess studies.